jacket on because once we're moving I'll be steering. I don't want to muck about. Right, dirty gloves on. Dirty gloves on. Warm gloves in reserve. So dirty gloves for the wet ropes so my hands don't get cold. Oh, camera up front. That's a daisy. Camera up front, and I'll cast off as well. Right, oh. Is there anything else? There is. Do you know what? I've not cruised in 4 weeks because of the alternator delays. I've forgotten how I set things up. There we go. Okay. Done. Back end. It's funny, honestly. 4 weeks without cruising, about that anyway, and I'm like completely clueless. I've forgotten the order you do things in, and now just push the boat out. There we go. We are off Line Heron. Leaving the lovely Rugby behind. Moderate revs, methinks. And a close look out because several boats gone past this morning. Not every day you meet minor royalty, you know what I mean? Should I bow? I never quite know what's the right thing. Not, I suspect, an actual Viscount. I think I passed that boat before and commented upon the sort of the minor royalty thing. It's not even that, is it? Is a Viscount minor royalty? Do you care? I don't. So don't explain in the comments. It was a lovely mooring. It really was a lovely little place. There's something about the vibe that I just didn't quite like, and I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. Right, there's a workboat up ahead, so we have a more sort of potentially pressing issue. So I'm just going to give it a couple more revs. Perhaps a swiglet. A swiglet for the piglet. Morning.
How are you? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. At least it's not raining. That's how I look at it. Always a good day. Bit of weather chat. It's compulsory. It is compulsory among boaters, but clearly among people who work on the canals as well. That's the end of what I call the town centre moorings here. You go under a little road bridge, obviously some apartments or something here, and it's got quite a nice feel to it, but the actual destination is only about 1/5 of a mile. I'll just add this little sort of snippet onto a bigger video. Obviously this won't be a thing on its own. We're coming through housing estates now, but you know, it all looks okay. I'm not seeing hordes of people in hoodies or, you know, anything that could be a potential problem. Some nice moorings, by the way, just to point out here. There's a length of Armco right next to the bridge, so that would be handy for the road, and I remember that road. But yeah, so it's just a tiny little cruise. I'm just moving spots because I'm not quite finished in Rugby. I've got a couple of little jobs to do. Final laundry run is one thing I want to do. I want to get this haircut. It's just, I feel like it's reached its lowest point in terms of just, I can't do a thing with it. I mean, I know that's the phrase. I know what women, when they say that now, I get it. I can't do it because it just literally, it's its own republic basically. And so, got to get it all shortened. This was the fault of the guy in Hinckley who left the front deliberately long, thinking he was doing me a favour and making my hair trendy, which for about 2 days it was, and then it just looked horrendous again. Anyway, he meant well, so, and he was a really nice guy. So 500 feet, the moorings I want, this is the difficult thing here. My route to the shops, you know, to the things I still need to do, potentially lies back there. So I'll have to cycle this towpath. It's a mixed bag really, this towpath, but that's going to be my route. Okay, so I feel like we're approaching the moorings I want. If I go past here, I need to go past Clifton Cruises and on, which adds another half a mile onto my trip, which has to be done with laundry. But on the other hand, where I am, to get to a road, I've got to go ahead or I've got to go back along that crappy towpath. Unless I could get over, if there's a bridge. If there's no bridge, because it's just a road there. If I could cross over, I could go on that bridge. Right. So this is, I don't want to be on my own though, you know. Is there a boat? Yeah, there is a boat. Right. I'm going to stop here, guys. This is it. What a shame there's no bridge. Never a bridge when you want one. They're all over the place when you don't need them. Every 5 minutes. I could just cross over and use that lovely road. Anyway, so I've got to go back away and I'm going to moor there. There's one other boat here, so that's good. I've got company. But I'm just going to do a couple of days here. That's the plan. There we go. Oh God, I need the mooring chains and everything, don't I? Because I've been on rings. I've been getting spoiled. So, there's nothing more annoying when you park your boat in the middle of nowhere, deliberately, because you're not feeling like company, whatever, and some bugger rocks up a few hours later and just plonks their boat 10 yards or 5 yards in the back end or whatever end. Where I am here, it's closed in. The towpath is closed in and narrow and overlooked almost, so there'll be zero solar. Don't know which way I'm facing. Which way is south? South is that way, where all the bushes are. The reason this location is important is because it's the next mooring location. It's a separate mooring location. If you look at the CRT, they have a map where they delineate sections of canal, usually about a kilometre or so, but it varies. And they give them an ID number. And that's one ID number, that's one section in Rugby. This is a different section. It starts a couple of 100 yards that way. So I've made sort of the minimum move. It's not what I'd want to do. I want to press on, and I will do in a couple of days. But I've just got a couple of more things that I've got to sort out. Because it's such a big move. Like, there's no more civilization properly until Milton Keynes, which is about 30 miles or so of canal. I've got to be through Braunston and down about 10 miles. There's a blockage going to happen 13th of Jan. So whatever happens, I've got to be through Braunson, through there, by the 13th. Is it stony? It looks a bit more stony underneath. It's not pure mud, but it's going to be sketchy riding that path. A little bit more. That's it, we are done. But what we've got today is some pretty nasty winds. It feels worse here than it did when I was back up in Rugby town centre, about half a mile that way. Storm Dara had 60 mile an hour gusts at times, and it didn't feel this windy. We're just a bit more open, I think. You can see from the surface it's getting blown. The ripples are getting blown a fair bit. Yeah, this is only 50 mile an hour gusts, which is still pretty breezy, to be honest. And they were cutting the CRT, or their contractors were cutting vegetation. They came along this bank yesterday. I don't know if you can see the freshly cut branches there. So branches come down off of this tree, and there's some hanging that have been cut as well. I overtook them and then they went past me later on, and I don't know whether perhaps it's visible. There are branches cut from that tree there. Anyway, my main hope is that the roots of this tree, and indeed this one, which is even in the water, are nice and strong, because obviously they're overhanging the stem. It's something you don't really want to think about. I could move another 10 feet forward, but then the bough would be potentially in the way of that even bigger tree. Does look fairly solid though. These don't look quite so solid, but on the other hand they don't look as if they're ready to go just yet, but touch wood of course. But yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be not too bad. I don't even think this is an official storm. It hasn't got a storm name, the way we did with Dara, but it certainly feels breezier in this location. So sometimes it's not the wind speed or the fact that it's a formal storm, you know, sometimes it's just your location that largely defines your experience of it. But yeah, the tops of the trees are going fairly well. And, down the hatches. I'm definitely not moving today. There's no chance I'm moving today. Just not happening. What I will do, and look, we've got a bit of, the towpath's not too pleasant here. This is one where you've got to clean your boots every time you step after boat basically, but you know, this is winter, and the bit where I need to get on and do the panels is right by some mud as well. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tilt the panels like so. That's the position I find that they are safest from getting slammed around by the wind when they're like that. The wind can't catch them underneath and bring them up, and they tend to sort of, sometimes when the wind's really strong and they're a bit loose on the screws, they can swing around and they end up slamming into the deck, or you know, the other end, whatever. It's not so much the noise, it's just you know, you don't want to weaken the joints or cause any damage. Looking at the chimney, the wind appears to be going that way and that way. I don't know what direction that is compass wise, but I'll find out shortly. Anyway, time to get back aboard.